Good evening and welcome back. I mean, it is hot in the Karoo, and as you know, I think most of you are seeing it on TV. They are like locusts all over the show. I mean, our area is flooded with it. That doesn't mean that we cannot have a talking technical, and of course, we've got plenty requests, and that makes the show. While you're sending requests through, we are just too happy to entertain you with a nice and a beautiful passion that I've been doing for many, many years. So I would like to kick off straight away, and I'm going to look at the gold price. I mean, there's so many people that's asking about the gold price, and I mean, what can we say? This is Kobus that is asking about the gold price, Kobus, and I want to show you what's happening here. This is, of course, a weekly chart, and we showed this chart, I think, months ago. There was an inverse head and shoulder. But what I would like to show you here, gold is showing in a very long time that it is definitely a safe haven in times of worry. Now, about since 2021, look what we see here, a low, a higher low, all the way. But now we saw that this symmetrical triangle, and that is the big thing, Kobus, is that this symmetrical triangle is now in play, and it can actually take the price quite higher. I mean, it's stuck around this 1900 Rand level, $1,900 level, sorry, for a couple of days with all the Russians and the Ukraine story. What it tells me that the gold price, if this symmetrical triangle play out, will probably go to 2015. I personally think it can easily go to this level, 1947, and then 1966, and then I think the big move needs to go 2000. But I mean, it's early days, and of course, there's a lot of the viewers that say, no, we are not gold bulls. We don't like gold. That's something else. I mean, I will only get nervous below 1869. I think that we can maybe see a sell-off in gold again, but at the moment the chart actually looks very, very nice. Let us look at Murray and Roberts. Now, this was Siobhan that asked about this. Murray and Roberts share, I mean, Siobhan, first thing, I think you were surprised that the share is selling off. I saw the other day somebody dropped me on Twitter a note and said, Frans, but why is Purple losing momentum? Same here. Why is Murray and Roberts losing momentum? And that is the one lesson that we all need to remember. Remember, shares goes up, and we are happy with that, and we like it. But you also get periods where a share can come under pressure and it can sell off. And I mean, this is Murray and Roberts. It happened before. Look at the share. At one point, it was over 18 Rand a share. And since then, it lost momentum. It went as low as 3.41 Rand. Just shows you that the share made lower highs all the way. The trend was to the downside. I just want to show you, there's the trend line. It just shows you every time that it got against that line, that resistance line, the market just sold the share off. Now, there's various reasons for that. Maybe something fundamentally went wrong, and now you are worried that this share is suddenly losing momentum here. And remember, this is a weekly chart, because most of the investors that I'm seeing nowadays, they believe that the market can just go up. It will never go down. Look what happened the other day. The market opened up, or opened lower, almost 1,100 points, and within a few hours it was actually positive. So it just shows you that the risk appetite for shares are there, and people like it and they rush into them. Now, unfortunately here, Siobhan, if the share remains below 12.75 Rand, especially on a week close, so that means a Friday close, that will mean that the share can actually go a little bit lower. What I pick up here is, look what I'm seeing here. There is a head and shoulder formation. There you are. There's the left shoulder. There's the head. And there's the right shoulder. And the target was already this support line. Look at it. There's the target. It just went a little bit, and it's on, it broke that level. It can easily go to 12.08. So there was nothing wrong with the chart. I mean, everything, well, the share went from 2 Rand up all the way to 14 Rand in a matter of, let's call it a year. I mean, that is phenomenal. That is a fantastic rally. So you are worried? I will get worried while this line is a resistance. That's 12 Rand 70. And I will only get positive about the share when it can break this right shoulder to the upside, and that will be above 14.30. So if you want to buy it, and you are a momentum trader maybe, or an investor, above 14.30 it will trigger another buy. Use this as your stop loss at 12 Rand 70 level, and then maybe it can go to 15 Rand and 2 cents, and even as high as 15 Rand 33 when it recovers. Just keep in mind, sometime the market will say to us that this market had a beautiful rally and they would like to lock in some profits. That is just a market. So you hear about, I sometimes read about it, and then they say, well, listen, I bought the share at 2 Rand and now it's 100 Rand. I'm just keeping it for a lifetime. That's not always true. I mean, Anglo-American dropped from, I think, way above 500 Rand to about 50 Rand a few years back. Kumba, the same thing, back to 25, 30 Rand. So it just shows you that shares can turn around. And remember, Murray & Roberts is nothing else than a commodity company that is involved with infrastructure. So they deal with commodities like cement, and they buy bricks, and they buy all these commodities to do their job. And suddenly, at some point, commodities sometimes get expensive for them, the materials. And then suddenly the market is going a little bit better, and the mark up, and their profit margins comes under pressure, and then you can see a sell-off. But I don't say this is what's happening here. I'm just a little bit nervous. Let's have a look at the old favorite, and that is Bitcoin. Now, remember, I've read a lot of articles, and I think some of you also read that. I mean, that Bitcoin is on its way to 100,000. I actually made a joke here in Vosburg to say that the guy that says it's going to 100,000 when it was 65,000, he was in town, and he actually came out to buy the whole town. And eventually, when the price went down to, let's say, to 37, he's now only looking for a place to rent. So that was just a joke. But what I don't like about Bitcoin at this point in time, this is a top. It was like an overshoot. Let's maybe just show you that you sometimes do get these overshoots. And that is still a double top. There's a top. There's another top. It just went above that, and now it's coming back. And what worries me is that we are seeing maybe a double top in the making. Now, of course, this double top is not yet in play, and the double top can maybe surprise us all and maybe go up, and even above 66,000, it can go back to this 80,000 level, because where do the guys get this 80,000 level? If you combine that, and you combine that, and you project it, you can go to 80,000 in a couple of months. For me, it's a little bit rich. It doesn't say that it cannot happen. I've learned through the years that a market can show you what it wants to show you, and sometimes you are completely wrong. But let's have a look at it. This double top will only come in play. Let's just put it in place there. This double top will only come into play below this level, 61,772. And I think the guy that asked about it was Sam. Sam, I'm just a little bit nervous that if this 61,772 comes into play, where can it take this price? Let's have a look. You'll be surprised. There's the top down to the bottom. I'm just going to project it quickly for you. There you are. It's close enough. Can you believe it? It can take the coin back to 6,078. Now, I know a lot of viewers will just say, France, that's not true. But I've seen it can happen, but only below this line, things can get nasty. Well, it looks like Zolly wants to fly overseas. I don't know if he's vaccinated or not, but he's asking about Boeing. Well, Boeing, first of all, had this beautiful rally from 2020. I think it was with all the bailouts. Some of these companies were really assisted by the American Federal Reserve and the big banks. But at the moment, the share is just drifting a little bit lower. So I'm a little bit worried here. If I look at this chart here, and this is what I'm looking here for, I'm saying this descending channel, I actually want to use that line there. There you are. There's a classic descending channel. Now, a descending channel, we know, eventually will turn into a positive formation. But I don't know when that will happen. That can maybe take a while before it will happen. But There you are, it's coming down. Maybe it can come down to this $183.62. But only above 218, I will look at buying it. If I buy it at 218, I will use this line as my stop loss. And if it breaks up to the top, where can it go to? It's the same thing again, the width of the channel, and you just project it to the upside. There you are. And then it can take the share to 248.11. So I will just say, use the support line as your stop loss level, and your target will be 249. Let's make it 250 on the top. Well, for me, at the moment, I'm a little bit worried because this initial trend line, there's the one that I was looking initially. I don't like if it breaks. Suddenly, it makes me nervous because then it just tells me the trend wants to turn around, and sometimes you actually think it can go higher, and then suddenly you see this drift lower. Well, let's have a look at Citigroup. Now, well, if you look at Citigroup, almost the same thing as Boeing here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I will just say, look at this. You can see there's the trend line. Same thing here. There's a descending channel here. Clearly in the making here. Let's have a look here. There you are. You can see it. I mean, only above $65 in, it will give me a buying signal. Make use of your stop loss of 59.20. And where can it go to? It can go to 72.13. Now, this was Alfreda that asked about it. Alfreda, well, there's your line. Citigroup, I think the descending channel will make me a little bit worried, but eventually it will probably break to the upside. So, Alfreda, I hope that you are lucky with the share, because what worries me is that I've got 2 overseas shares now and both are drifting lower, and that makes me a little bit nervous. Well, visit our website, www.fransdeclerc.com, for more technical info, and we will chat.